What's going on, everybody? I am cruising in the Prius right now and just figured I would hop on to give you my number one tip as a automotive entrepreneur, flipper, whatever you want to call me. If you want to know my prized possession, my favorite thing, and my $8,000 pen, now you know. A nice empty highway, so that's why I'm filming and driving. I'll be paying most of the attention to the road, but the content in this video is valuable, so listen to these words and please heed my advice. We got a nice sunset, but back to the topic of the video. So my number one tip is Carfax. Carfax I'm not affiliated with, not sponsored by. I should be. I have spent, I think, $8,000, probably more than that, but at least $8,000 on just Carfaxes. Like, that could get you a very, 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 very solid vehicle. But I've spent it all on information, paper, which is a testament to the whole course program, automotivemoney.com, like learning how to become an automotive entrepreneur down below. I don't feel bad for charging for this stuff because the information is more valuable than the cost that you have to pay to acquire that information. So anyway, back to the Carfax thing. I've spent a lot of money, multiple thousands of dollars on Carfax independently to see the history of certain vehicles and glean a lot of insights from vehicles that I've purchased, or more accurately, prospective vehicles that I'm looking to buy. So this week I've had a string of awful luck on finding a great deal on something only to find out it's rolled back or it has a rebuilt title. I'll flash some just this week that I was looking at on the screen, and the Facebook messages that ensued afterwards calling these people out, trying to huck their rebuilt title, rolled back junk as clean title actual mileage vehicles, which I don't want to touch. The whole rollback thing is horrible. I just don't want to get involved. A felony to commit, like the act of doing that, and I don't know what the implications of owning a vehicle are from like a legal perspective if you acquire rolled back and then sell it as that, but inaccurately representing the mileage from a legal standpoint has got to be bad, and morally, if you have any degree of morals, is just atrocious. So that's a huge no-no. Stay away from that, obviously. And then with the rebuilt salvage title stuff, I have a rebuilt title vehicle right now, my 350Z. It's fine. Like, you can legally own them. Morally, I'm comfortable with it. But it takes a huge hit on the value of the vehicle, not to mention the buyer pool for that vehicle shrinks tremendously. I think less so with the drift car, the fun sports car that I got for an insane deal. But a bulk, every other vehicle I own has a clean and clear title, maybe an accident on it, something like that, but not rebuilt salvage. Anyway, why I'm bringing this up is because Carfax, if you buy one, costs $40. And if you buy currently a 6-pack of them, it's $100, which seems steep. And if you're just getting started flipping, if you don't have a lot of money, spending $100 on 6 Carfaxes versus, let's say you have a finite budget of maybe $1,000, spending $100 on Carfax and only having $900 to spend on the vehicle, repairs, titling it, etc., seems like kind of a backwards step, or a skippable step in the process, and technically it is. A lot of people don't run Carfaxes, but a lot of people are also uninformed buyers, so I hugely advocate for them from the stay away from duds standpoint. And we're gonna get to my house fairly soon, so I'll throw you on the tripod real quick. And also from the, when you go to market and sell it, you have so much more information. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. Cat's out of the bag, run Carfaxes, that's the gist of the video. But if you want to stick around and find out why, some concrete examples, I will give those to you as soon as I pull into the casa. All right, so we are in the $1 Million Film Studio, AKA the free lawn chair that I got out of the back of a truck in my driveway with the I guess it's pretty JDM right now. We have the M3 8th Gen SI, 350Z that I just mentioned, 370Z, pre and pre. So pretty cool. Anyway, this is part of the current fleet. I have more down by the barn, whatever. I've run Carfaxes on all of these cars. So this one has a beautiful Carfax. I bought it for that reason. It's a 2-owner, no accident Prius, and in my hunt for a Prius, I want a newer one. This is my daily, the Poverty Pre. In my quest for a Gen 3 instead of a Gen 2, I've come across numerous deals, what I perceive to be deals based on the price point. And after running the Carfax, either sniping it off of the plate, seeing the plate pictured in the ad and just running it based on that, which is something you can do, or directly asking the seller for the VIN for the vehicle, I've encountered numerous rollbacks on Priuses because they run forever and they're great cars, but these people are representing a 350,000 mile Prius as a 150,000 mile, and someone likely is going to be dumb enough not to run a Carfax and get shafted. I don't want to be that guy. I can't make spam, scam, whatever rollback alert post for everything. I can't save everybody, but I can definitely protect myself. So it's a huge hedge right there. Secondly, I guess with this blue one, while we're on this example, it's a massive selling point to proudly present that Carfax to whoever is going to be buying this car. This one, I may end up keeping. There's a chance that I sell this, replace it with this, but I am gonna post it on the web through the dealership and see if I can make a few $1,000s profit. If I can just collect the profits, I'll keep mobbing the Poverty Pre. Anyway, when I'm going to sell this thing, I'm going to proudly display that this is a 2-owner, well cared for, no accident Prius. That's definitely going to grab the attention of the kind of person that buys a car like this. Someone that wants something that's not been wrecked in a noted collision on Carfax. Sure, accidents can happen outside of what gets reported to Carfax. However, it's generally pretty good about that. And even if something was in an accident, but didn't have a title status, like the Z actually behind me, the 370, it's got a clean title, but it's been in an accident. And if I just said, hey, this thing's clean title, and didn't include the Carfax, you wouldn't know that it was in a big accident or in any accident. Anyway, so huge savings as far as gas money, time spent, roping in a co-driver to check out any car that you're potentially going to purchase. There was a Prius in Michigan. It was a great deal. I was going to go buy it. I ran the Carfax, didn't have to make a 3-hour drive up to Michigan, didn't have to waste the gas money, my time, a friend's time, pay a transporter. You get what I'm saying? All because I spent $17 on a Carfax after buying that bundle, $600-400. So massive savings there. Secondly, the massive marketing advantage, I guess, with being able to say, hey, this is a 2-owner car with no reported accidents. That's awesome. Buy this one instead of the one that's been tossed around between 7 different owners that's had 2 accidents. Like another Prius that was gold that I was looking at, I think there were like 4 owners and a couple accidents on the history. And that's why I went with this one, because it'll market better. I know that it's not been wrecked. Anyway, enough of me rambling and babbling on about that. There's another awesome feature with Carfax, which is the title number. It'll tell you a title number for the vehicle that you're considering buying. And so you can cross-check that and make sure that everything's good, everything's valid. So I'm actively looking to add another ricer to the fleet. It's a 2017 Toyota AE86, and the seller said that he didn't have the title, that it was waiting to be sent to him. Well, going into his other posts on Facebook, he posted in a group for $1,000 less. He's asking $55 right now. He posted it for $45 and said, hey, can't get the title, can't get a hold of the previous owner. I lost the title before transferring it, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, man, I can get you the title for sure. Ran the Carfax, came up, accident reported, clean title, but he said that there was a duplicate title issued that was being sent to him. Well, on Carfax, the latest thing, unless it had just recently happened, was that there was no duplicate title issued. So I don't know if it's actually been issued, if it's lien free, etc. So with that information in mind, I'm stepping away from the deal and pulling back because it's multiple hours away. I'd have to pay a transporter $500 to pick it up, even if it was a dud, even if it was a turd, let alone not being able to get the title for this thing to prove that I own it. I could just pay this guy that lives near Detroit. You know, if you're into cars, probably you are watching this, Detroit has a great automotive heritage and history, but if you think about Detroit, it's not really the best. So I'm just staying away for now. If something changes, you'll see the car on the channel. Anyway, there's that. Title numbers pop up. You can cross-check that with the title that's presented to you by the seller. One more thing on that really quick. Shout out to Automotive Life, Lucky Lopez, for providing this information. I saw it in a YouTube video of his. He was talking about common scams that are going around. One being that people will get a vehicle, let's say this 370Z, take it to a pawn shop, give them the title to it, and somehow have the vehicle. They'll get a loan against the title. They won't be holding the title. They'll file for a duplicate and then try to pawn that off and sell it to you as, yeah, I have the clean title right here in my name. Everything's good. Just give me the cash and we'll call it a day. Then they run off, they flee, and now you're left with this huge pawn bill from this individual that just scammed you. So cross-checking title numbers, not only VINs, but running the Carfax, cross-check the title number, make sure that everything's a-okay. It's just an extra layer of safety prevention when it comes to dealing with large amounts of funds. This was $2,600, this was $7K, this was about $10K, $47. Civic was $36, and the M3 was $53, if I recall. So like multiple thousands of dollars, teetering 10 grand, and I've spent way more than that at one time on vehicles as well. So all of that to say, spend $40 on a Carfax, or if you buy them in bulk, under 20 a pop, save yourself tens of thousands of dollars by not getting scammed on a falsified title. What else to riff on? Maintenance. Maintenance is huge. I don't think any of these particularly have exceptional maintenance history that was documented on the Carfax. I wish I could reference one. Not all shops and service stations report to Carfax and put that data, especially if it's a small place, mom and pop shop. If you're doing it in your driveway or your garage, obviously you're not going to be uploading that data to Carfax, but some of the bigger chains, retailers, etc. will input that data into Carfax, and then you can see what was done with documentation. I have a perfect example. I just got a 2006 Honda Civic. It's an 8th gen, kind of like the one behind me. It was a coupe. No, it was a sedan. That one's a sedan. Blue 8th gen Civic, just base model baby, whatever, good gasketer. I stole the roof rack for my 8th gen buying that one. That's what prompted me to buy it. Anyway, on that car, it was really high mileage. I knew that it wasn't rolled back. The seller said they had a clean title, but I ran a Carfax anyway, because I always do. It's just every vehicle I buy or I'm seriously considering buying, boom, run the Carfax, checked it, and what do you know? They had it since 2010. They've had it for like 12 years. Since 100,000 miles. It had 243 when I got it. So it's provable that they owned it since 2010. They'd driven the absolute heck out of it, and they had a great time with it. Consistent mileage going up every year, and it was like their daily, and they were just getting rid of it, moving on. They bought 2 Odysseys. That's what else was in their driveway when I went to buy it. Anyway, on that, the seller was saying, hey, just recently there was some issues with the engine. It was running a little bit poorly, so I took it to the shop here in town, and they did all new, I forget what you call it, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't remember what it was called. Turns out that it was valve cover gasket, coil packs, and spark plugs, just basic tune-up with the ignition system refreshed, and that was all on Carfax. So I was able to, in the listing, say that it had all of that done, provable, 100%, not with an itemized receipt directly from the manufacturer service provider specifically, but I was able to, they pretty well itemize it on the Carfax, point to, this got the valve cover gasket done, this got the ignition coils done, this got the spark plugs changed. And you can see with 100% proof and certainty that this maintenance was done on this car on this date, which is a huge selling point if you, let's say, do a clutch slave cylinder in this car and happen to lose the receipt. Lucky for you, the service station that did that uploaded that documentation to Carfax, and now you have proof versus losing $1,000 receipt like I just paid for this Z. And it's not just minor stuff like ignition, stuff like that. It could be a whole new crate motor or a whole new transmission, a transmission rebuild, anything that pertains to the vehicle, knowing that that was done. And then secondly, if you buy from someone like me who maybe wouldn't have run a Carfax, let's say hypothetically you bought a 5.0 Mustang GT with 80,000 miles on it, and some kid had it from 70,000 miles, now it has 80K, he drove it for a summer, he enjoyed it, but he's going to college now, has to get rid of it and dump it. So he's only had it for that period, he didn't run a Carfax, he's not in touch with the previous owner, maybe he's a forgetful kid, and you don't know the history past as long as he's had it. So you run a Carfax, what do you know? Ford installed a brand new motor at 60,000 miles with documentation, verifiable from the Ford dealership directly. Just a hypothetical example, but that is one of the many things that you could come across on the Carfax. Being able to see, this got this huge service done. This got this $5,000 repair done. Same with recalls. There are recall notices that are on Carfax, and also if those recalls have been done and completed, those will show up on Carfax as well. So getting just the full backstory, the full history on that vehicle is advantageous for you as the end buyer, or you as kind of the middleman, someone who may go in and out of vehicles pretty rapidly. Getting that information and being able to flex it and show it to whoever is buying it next can give you a competitive edge and maybe yield you more than it costs. And I think that's the big key. Just the value that Carfax provides, always, almost always, if not always, being more than it costs. And I would say definitely for me, which is why I continually run these things, they average out to be well worth it. There was a Honda Odyssey that I was going to check out this week. I was so stoked. It was a super nice Odyssey. It was white. It was about an hour away from me. The dude literally in the description, in the listing, said clean title, actual mileage. Run the Carfax. What do you know? It's rolled back from like 210 down to 90,000 miles. So I say, rolled back. He says, huh? And I said, the car has been rolled back. The miles are changed. And he sent me a screenshot. He had the audacity to frickin' send me a screenshot that said the miles are actual. No, they're not, dude. I just ran the Carfax and realized that they're not actual. So it saved me from this massive dud, this massive headache, getting absolutely screwed on this vehicle that this dude rolled back. Same with another Odyssey, a 2014 Odyssey Touring that I was checking out. It would have been 2 hours away, heck of a drive, only to find out this thing has a rebuilt title that the seller didn't disclose in the listing. Awesome. So on average, with gas costs and time spent and being able to market the vehicle a lot more intentionally and intensely with being accident free, or the maintenance history that it's received, or anything like that, the Carfax history based value, that's one more thing that I can discuss really quick. I don't think that it's super accurate. I tend not to get history-based retail value for a lot of the stuff that I have. I think it's more applicable for newer vehicles that are more commonplace, less enthusiast stuff. but I do think that this can go for very, very close to the history-based retail value, just because it's like a 100% stock, basic, newer Prius without any weird history. Anyway, Carfax will spit out an approximate value based on the service history, the accidents, everything that Carfax knows about. It'll compile that using its algorithm and combine it with, I don't know if it's KBB or NADA, Black Book, whatever, and spit out a value of what this thing is worth in excellent, good, and poor condition, in a retail setting, a private party setting, and a trade-in setting, and let you know based on all of those different variables. You can toggle between those and see what these things will come up for. And so sometimes when I make these videos, I say, this is a 20K car. The Carfax history-based value is over 20 grand for this thing, and I gave less than half of that, getting a car for half off. Whatever, this thing's history-based value is like 65 and I paid 26. I don't know what the Z is. I know the 8th gen SI, it was beat to crap when I got it. That's an awesome video for the channel. But that was 3,600, and I think the history-based value was like 10K. I got it for less than trade-in, which is awesome. So I know that I'm buying these things strong, especially when Carfax can spit out these values and say like trade-in is 5K. I know that buying it for 36 is a steal, especially when it's not going to take that much to do up. Then when I go to sell the Civic Si, no accidents, 10K history-based value, has a whole bunch of mods, only asking 9,500 bucks. There's not to mention the thousands of dollars that were poured into mods. That's a huge selling point. So as the sun is dropping down, as this video is dragging on and on and on, I think we'll close it out, wrap it up, and just finish off by saying, run your freaking Carfaxes, people. It's worth the investment, whether you're buying it as a reseller or as an end buyer. I think they're well worth it. And it's a huge tip that I use. It's something that's available to literally anybody in the public. Make an account, put in your credit card info, buy a 6-pack of Carfaxes, and then have a heyday running them on prospective vehicles that you're looking to buy to save yourself a lot of gas money, driving time, headache, and heartache if you would end up with something that's a total lemon that you could have prevented by running one of these little Carfax Fox Boys. I will show you one more trinket, one more gadget before we sign off this video. But if you're interested in learning other awesome tips, techniques, everything that I've learned through nearly a decade of doing stuff in the automotive industry, how I've been able to set up this $1 million studio in my driveway. No, but seriously, how I've been able to own all of these cars, all of my dream cars, free and clear, no loans or whatever on any of these at a young age, then click the link down below. Check out automotivemoney.com. There I'll teach you everything that I know, how to monetize your passion for cars. And with that in mind, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and stay around just one more second for this cool little trinket. My little Carfax pen. How sick is this thing? I got it buying a car from a dealership. It was a Toyota Tundra from a dealership that I got for an insane deal. Bought it for 2K, sold it for 5K within like a couple days. It was a trade-in. Anyway, I got this free pen, which I'm super stoked on because there's a light with the Carfax, my guy. And it writes really well too. So if you want to know my prized possession, my favorite thing, and my $8,000 pen, now you know. With that in mind, I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Sir, have you been drinking tonight? Yeah, we'll take you in. What's going on, YouTube? Don't you want to push push M3, push Civi, push 350Z or 370Z? Well, you can be like me if you run a Carfax C.